Neil, a change in circumstances with your opposition going into this game, do you think that will have any impact for you and your team?
Not on our team, but I'd imagine it would on Thistle. I know Ian very well and done a fantastic job at Ayr United. And I know this is the second time now at Thistle, so I'm sure he's looking forward to the challenge. He's a very good manager, a very experienced manager. I think it's a great appointment. And I think also having Alan there as his number two, who knows the club inside out and did a fantastic job managing himself. That's a very potent combination, the two of them, going forward for Partick Thistle.
So how do you approach this game then, in terms of you're playing lower league opposition, but you have to try and keep as much continuity as possible?
Well, you want to keep the momentum going, but ultimately it's a quarter-final of a cup competition, so we want to win the game. And we want to play well, we want to keep our form going, and the club, the team, a lot of the players here, won 3 League Cups in a row, and ultimately we want to, keep that cup run and both the competitions going for as long as possible. So in terms of our thinking, the fact that Partick have brought in a new manager yesterday, it hasn't affected the way we're approaching the game.
Is there a temptation to mix things up or freshen things up?
Well, temptation and in some areas a necessity as well, so yeah, I think it's fair to say we'll be making some changes.
For you, how key is this competition, because you haven't won it as a manager? Does that drive you on, give you an extra motivation?
Not really. You just want to keep the momentum going. You want to keep, it's particularly in the cups. So yeah, it is a competition. Having won, I've come close a couple of times, and it would be nice to win it. There's no guarantees. You need a bit of luck along the way as well. So, and we need to play well. So, we're not thinking about winning it. We're just thinking about tomorrow, and making sure we're professional and ready and in the right frame of mind. That's really important.
We've seen this can be quite hazardous actually on nights like this, maybe a quarter full, a third full. Atmospheres are a little bit flatter, lower division opposition changing the team. Morton and Thistle themselves have proved that to you in the past.
They have, yeah. I mean, I remember that infamous penalty shootout, way back. Yeah, I think we came through it in the end, but went on to the final. I don't think we won it that year either, but yeah, I mean, it's early in the season, and all right, we've got a few games under our belt now. I think Partick will bring a good crowd with them as well. As it being local, they've got a decent support, so they'll be vociferous. And yeah, I imagine it won't be a full house, and that's where the mentality comes into play and professionalism, and there'll be opportunities for players to maybe haven't had game time recently to go out and show that they're up to speed as well and ready to be called upon whenever.
Because when we were talking about Morton in that game recently, we were remembering that Pookie and Van Dijk played and they still lost.
Yeah, it was one of them games where we had, I don't know, we're in the 30s anyway, attempts at goal, and I think Morton scored from a penalty, so we'd have been playing there for the whole weekend or till the weekend and probably still wouldn't have scored. It was just one of those things. So yeah, it happens then again, and I don't want it to happen tomorrow night, obviously, so we pick what we feel is a strong team to progress.
Yeah, we said that in terms of might be a necessity to change if you had some injury news, or?
Well, Maurice, he twisted the ankle, so he'll be a doubt. Christopher Julian's fine, but obviously we have to take a steer on games coming up as well. For the likes of Forrest, Brown, McGregor, Christie, Ball and goalie, they've all been playing a lot of football. So we would like to play them in every game, but it's not realistic, and I think there are players chomping at the bit to play as well, so we need to try and find the right balance.
Any time scale on Maurice's injury?
Well, yeah, I mean, we're hoping he'll be fit for the weekend. I think tomorrow will just be too soon for him.
Do you use these games against, like Morton, that was 6 years ago today, that game against Morton, do you use that as a warning to your players, or do you need to?
Maybe not need to, but it's nice to, well, not nice, but it's a reminder that these things can happen. I actually didn't think we played badly on the night, but it just wasn't our night, and sometimes that can happen, so we need to take the luck element away. The luck of the cup or the bad luck of the cup, we need to take that out of it and play strongly. And if Partick are going to come, and they can play a little bit, Partick, but if they are going to come to defend, then the onus is on us to take the game to them at every opportunity we can.
As this cup run continues, or Celtic's dominance domestically continues, how much does the pressure increase on the players?
It doesn't. I don't think there's any pressure on the players now. In terms of this competition anyway, they've won it 3 years in a row, so I don't know if there's a huge expectation level on them to win it again. If that is the case, then they're well used to it, but no one's feeling any pressure going into tomorrow.
I think in your previous spell you mixed up. One season you didn't change your keeper, following season you did. What's your thinking for this competition?
Craig will play tomorrow, so he's starting.
It's kind of, I guess it's encouraging for him because he's had to bide his time, isn't it?
No, he hasn't done a lot wrong, Craig, but I think it's important that he gets games, and I think it's important that we keep him motivated. I've got three, Beanie's still out at the minute, but at the minute 2 superb goalkeepers, and if anything were to happen to Fraser and Craig's undercooked, that would be remiss of me. So I think not only does he need to play, he deserves to play.
And can I ask, is this a decision you've made for the cup, or is it game by game?
Game by game, game by game. But having said that, you never say, right, you're playing in the next round if we go through, but might be a good chance that he gets that opportunity again should we progress.
Is Lee Griffiths available? And
he's not, no.
No, is it the dead leg still?
It was more of a thigh injury. There's like a trauma, a bit of bleeding. So again, I'm hoping he'll be okay for the weekend, but again, tomorrow's too soon.
Neil, can I ask you about Virgil van Dijk? He finished runner-up yesterday in terms of the FIFA awards. Do you think he was good enough to win it?
I thought he should have won it. Yeah, I thought he should have won it, but Messi is Messi, and if you look at the numbers from Messi, we probably take it for granted, but he does, because he just does it so well on a regular basis. But I thought Virgil was the outstanding player in domestic and European football this year or the previous year, whatever way the calendar turns out, and I thought he deserved to win it, so disappointed for him.
Is it tougher for a defender to win that sort of thing?
Probably, yeah, and we're in an era of Messi and Ronaldo where those two are just, we're lucky to have them in our generation, and we should enjoy them, and they've done just remarkable things, and remarkable probably is an understatement, when it comes to those two. But I felt, that as a centre half, he's just been outstanding, in every aspect of his game.
I know we ask you all the time every achievement that Virgil makes, but does it give you some pride when you see that he is the second best? Yeah,
I mean, that's gone now. Like, what I mean, we're delighted for him. We know him well personally. The players still know him and still in contact with him, but his career's moved on, and some of the players in there have done great things here as well. Yeah, we take an enormous amount of pride in all the players who leave here and succeed, but I just feel for him a little bit. I thought he's played at such a high level now for such a long time. I thought he merited the award.
You said earlier that your players aren't feeling any pressure. They've won this trophy the last 3 seasons in a row. How does that make you feel as you come into it? Because you came in obviously in January, February.
No different. I want to win the competition. I don't feel extra pressure on me to. I mean, we won the cup, which was really important as part of the treble. So this is what you would call maybe the first leg of the treble, and it's obviously one that we want to defend vigorously and accomplish.
Neil, can you put your finger on why you've got so many players peaking at the same time, particularly Edouard and Christie, which look like they're in the form of their career?
I'm delighted with the form. I just hope they maintain it. They are good players, and they're playing with a lot of confidence. There may be a dip here and there as we go along in the season. They are still relatively young, but Ryan, I think now for the last sort of year, people talk about him coming on the semi-final of this competition last year, and he's not really looked back since then. And Odson's, again, I think he's got more to come from his game, but he's playing at a very high level. Forrest is Forrest, and again, I say that, and it's almost as if I'm taking him for granted. I do not take for granted what James does year in, year out, and it's just a question of keeping them happy and keeping them fit and keeping them, bubbling over. But it's not just about those 3 or 4. some of the other guys are really coming on to the game as well.
Did playing Forrest on the left give you food for thought with how comfortable he was getting shots off?
No, I mean it's an aspect of his game we know he can do. In my first spell here as manager, he did it very well, and I thought him and Bolingoli down the left hand side first half, in particular, were excellent. So it just gives you another variation to the way you want to play or use Jamesy, and he's so intelligent that he can play out of the position so well. Ryan again played in a slightly different position on Sunday, but when he comes inside he can either get a shot off or open the game up. So it's just a nice sort of variation of our attacking play that we like to use sometimes.
The Hamilton chairman was on the radio last night just talking about how Hamilton had 3 red cards this season, and he kind of feels that the smaller clubs, according to him, are refereed differently from, say, an Old Firm derby, for example. What would your take on that be? Do you think there's a difference in refereeing, how clubs are refereed in the league?
I mean, I managed Hibs, so I didn't see a great variation in the refereeing whenever we played against Hamilton or against Celtic and Rangers. So I can't, again, speak on behalf of the Hamilton chairman. He sees the game and sees decisions going against him sometimes. We had a couple of decisions at the weekend that I wasn't over enamoured with, and a couple on Thursday night that I wasn't over enamoured with either. But I'm not convinced there's a bias towards the bigger clubs. But that's been an accusation that's been milling around the game for a long time. I'm not convinced that's there. But then again, I would say that, wouldn't I?
Can I just ask, tomorrow's Fernando's funeral.
Yes.
Last week you laid a wreath.
Yes.
By all accounts, a lot of Rangers fans appreciated what you did, and obviously Peter Lawler as well. We've seen other instances where the city's been united. Does this give us some sort of hope for the future that, it's not always going to be hatred between the two?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I've seen it many times. With the greats on both sides, and the support that both clubs give each other during difficult times. And for me, this is no different. And I will be attending the service tomorrow as well, on behalf of the club. And like I've said, it's a tragic loss for someone so young and someone of my era. And I think that sort of resonates with me more than maybe some of the older generation passing on.